I'm going to be all the way honest with y'all. This is something that won't be popular, right? Because so many people glorify how many bodies have you had, like how many chicks have you smashed, or even the women, like how many guys have you been with? I don't know if that's a thing in the women community, but I know in the guy community, like, yo, y'all talk about it, man. We talk about it heavy, right? Like, how many chicks have you smashed? Like, that's a trophy piece. But the truth of the matter is, I want to present something different on today. And it's crazy because many of y'all won't agree with it, but it's the truth. Like, how many women you've had sex with doesn't make you a man. Being able to keep it in your pants, that's what makes you a man. Why? Because self-control is a sign of a real man. Monogamy has to be practiced.
Let you know, man, you are really encouraging me, motivating me, inspiring me. God is really using you to help me
What's going
out.
on, family? I want to welcome you to AOS, the podcast. I'm your host, Mr. AOS Inspires. This is what I need you to do. We're on every single platform: TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. I need you to go and subscribe and follow us right now. We drop content every single day that'll help you with your life, because our mission here at AOS, the podcast, is to empower the world to never give up, one conversation at a time, one interview at a time, one video at a time, to help you live life at the next level. I want you to live life on the next level. I want to say thank you to each and every one of you that's watching this episode. This is going to be a dynamic episode. I need you to dive in. Do me a big favor. I need you to like, share, and comment. Don't be a stranger. I like, comment with us. And this is what I need you also to do. I need you to copy this link right here on this podcast, this episode, and share it with at least 10 of your friends. I promise you, it's going to help them out. Let's jump into the episode. What's going on, family? You guys are so amazing. I'm your host, Mr. AOS Inspires. This is AOS, the podcast. Let's go ahead and jump on into it. Monogamy. Let's go. Like, it has to be practiced. Many of y'all will not agree with this, with this episode, and it's all cool in the gang, right? This episode is not for everybody. I'm gonna be honest with you. This is not for the thinking of men. That's like, and it's crazy because I've been having a lot of conversation. I mean, a lot of conversation with men that feel that women or men are superior, right, to women. Like, I'm better than a woman. A woman needs to do what I say. I don't agree with that. I'm just going to keep it funky with you. You guys can hear about my platform. Many of you all know I don't think like that. I don't believe that men are superior to women. And it's crazy because when you think like that, that you're superior to a woman, like a woman is beneath you, it's crazy. How can you ever hold her to her true value? Right? Or how can you ever see her value if you think that she's beneath you? Like, that's trash to me. Like, it's crazy. So this episode is really going to touch a lot of nerves, because a lot of guys really think that it's a trophy to say, yo, I'm gonna give y'all a quick story real fast. I talked to this guy, had a conversation. And, of course, I got a podcast. So anybody that I come in contact with, when I have extensive conversation with you, it doesn't mean that I agree with whatever it is that you're talking about. It's just I got a podcast. I love asking questions. I love trying to get an understanding or a perspective from your mindset, to hear what you have to say and to just try to understand or just listen. Right? I think that a lot of people miss the mark because they're not willing to listen. I think that's why we are so successful on this podcast, because we're willing to. It doesn't matter if I agree with your lifestyle. If I don't, it is what it is, right? I'm here to listen. I'm here to get the facts, to get an understanding on how you believe or why you think the way that you think. And I'll form my opinion at the end. It is what it is. No hard feelings. I still got love for you, right? So I was talking to this guy and talking to him, and he just got comfortable. And it started off, we're talking about my podcast. I was like, hey, I got a podcast. I talk about relationship advice. I think this is how I started off, right? I said, I think that I was telling about the video that went viral. The video that went viral when I was like, yo, broke guys move in with women. I've never seen, and I'm a slow ground this thing here. I've never seen, let me defend this, because I don't think I ever defended it before. The reason I made that video was because I had met this guy. And he was like, hey, man, do you think you can take me somewhere, right? And I was like, yeah, let's go, let's roll. So I dropped him off somewhere. But he got a call from his girlfriend and was like, hey, come pick up your stuff. I didn't know what was going on until he told me she was kicking him out. And I was like, where you going? And he was like, I'm going to go to my best friend's house. She said I could stay there until I figure out what I'm going to do, or I could just stay there, right? I was like, okay, cool, let's go. I got you. I'm thinking he's going to get 1 or 2 bags, PlayStation, whatever. This guy comes out with 10 bags, right? Comes out with a lot of stuff. And I'm just giving you the backdrop of how this conversation started with the guy. So it made me think about that. I did an episode where I did a little clip, but then I did an episode surrounding that topic. I've never seen, and that's why I say only broke men move in with women. Why? Because I've never seen a successful man move in with a woman and then move out. I've seen movies, right, where they had their own place, but I'm talking about in real life. I've never seen a real life man actually move in with a woman and stay with her every single day. I've never seen this before. Move in with the woman, doesn't have his own spot. She kicks him out and he goes back home. Never seen that before. I've seen scenarios where the woman kicks the man out. He goes and grabs his bags, trash bags, right? And moving with go back home with mom, go to a homeboy house. I've never seen him pivot and go back to his pit house. I've never seen him pivot and go back to his condo. I've never seen him pivot and go back to his house. I've never seen that before. So that's why I said that broke men move in with women. I think that's a horrible idea. And if you could flip it as well, I think that broke women, right? But on that note, women get more of a pass than a man gets a pass, if that makes sense to you. Like women get more of a pass or a get out of free jail card with that than a man does. So, you have more grace on a woman than you do a man. I do anyway, right? So, but I think it's work flip side. It's both ways. I don't think that nobody should move in, especially when your name is not on the lease. So let's get that out the way there. But I'm telling him like my podcast, and I'm showing him the podcast. He was like, yo, that's dope, man. I've seen you before. I'm like, yo, thank you. And, we begin to talk about that concept. And he was like, I totally agree. I don't believe in moving in. And then he just led on to the fact that he done smashed, watch this is going to alarm you, 400 women. I was like, what? You did what? 400. 4000, right? And I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Like, that's bananas. And he's going on telling me this thing, and he was like really proud about this thing. Like the dynamics was crazy, from the age was from 25 to 70. Like it was bananas. 400 women, right? Because and the way he got on that, the way he narrowed it down to a number was because he was like, my friends was like, I done smashed 1,000 women. He was like, nah, it's about 400. And I'm like, man, that's crazy. And it's crazy because I wish I would have had the opportunity to ask him, like, did you catch an STD in the You had to. 400? This is crazy, right? That's bananas to me. 400 women. Right, and I don't want to call this rapper name out, but he went on the Breakfast Club because I don't want to call his name out because I don't want because I think it's him, but I really don't follow rap like I used to, right? I just don't. But I believe that he was on the Breakfast. I know he was on the Breakfast Club, and this guy said that he had smashed 1,000 women, and I don't know whether he said that month or the totality. I'm like, yo, this is bananas. So I brought this episode up, and I had to make it because so many men glorify how many women they had sex with or how many women they smash. And it's crazy because think about this. I think that I made a post. I did a reel, and I was like, hey, I believe that it's okay that if you get into a relationship, you guys get serious, to talk to your person and ask them what their body count is. So many people, and that video did go viral too, but so many people were in the comments was like, yo, that's some little boy stuff. Like, I don't want to know the body count. Men and women alike. They were like, I don't want to know the body count. And it's crazy. I mean, it is what it is. Like, I have no issue, right? Because I can count on one hand my body count. That's, I'm cool in the game. Like I could put that out there. Many people don't have that testimony, and and the reason this episode hits near and dear to my heart. Now, let me say this real fast because I know a lot of people will get in the comments. Oh, your body count is on one thing because you couldn't get no. Yes, I had plenty of opportunity, plenty, but I choose to use self control. And it's crazy because when a guy says that his body count is low, then other men want to attack him and say you couldn't get it. Now, high school, that got me. I mean, it didn't peer pressure me to do anything, but in high school, that would have hit hard for me. But now, being a grown man, I see it now. Women appreciate real women. Let's clear this up. Real women appreciate when your body count is not that high. When you haven't slept with that many women, I'm not talking about the fly by night women. I'm talking about the women with substance. Real women appreciate a man that doesn't have a high body count, right? So, he told me that, but I had to make this episode because so many people glorify how their track record. So let me get back to this story real fast. So I made that video, and so many men and women was like, "Yo, I don't want to know their body count. It is what it is." I'm looking at it from perspective like I want to know, because not that I want to be nosy. I want to know who. I just want to make sure that you're safe, right? I don't care. And this is the whole premise of me. The whole reason I made that clip was because AIDS can lay dormant in your body for years and you not know it. You can have a disease that's laying dormant in your body and you not know it, right? Now, there's something that you can look out for. That, I mean, it's crazy because I've had conversations with people that said that they had. I know a person, personally now, that said that he had AIDS, right? He had AIDS, but then he went back to the doctor and they can't find it. They can't detect it. Bananas to me, mind blowing, right? So that's the reason why I brought up, like it's okay to find out what their body count is, because I think it's very selfish, and I'm gonna flip the script. I think it's very selfish for you to get with somebody and your body count is 2 and their body count is 500. I think that's really selfish because there's a great chance that you have something that you can give it to that person that only got 2. That's selfish. Now let's flip it real fast. A lot of men glorify how many bodies that they have. However, they don't want their women having many bodies. Some men don't care. We're not talking about them. Those are trash dudes. I ain't talking about them. I'm talking about the guys that actually care. But there are some men that don't care. But I want to talk for and with the guys that do care, right? I think that's selfish. I think that's really selfish. That you will glorify how many bodies that you have, many women that you have sex with, right? And when it comes to her body count better not be over 4. Her body count better not be over 5, and you out here living a hot boy summer. I've got an issue with that. But let me get to the premise of this. I truly believe that in order for you to be in a committed relationship, it has to be practice. I mean, I'm gonna tell you this. Let's really jump and dive into the monogamy has to be practiced. Let's jump into the meat and bones. Because number one, if you don't have self-control, you won't be in a committed relationship. You can't be. Now, I'm gonna tell you this. Let's clear this up because I love to define things. I love to define words because a lot of people believe that a committed relationship is this is my main chick, this is my side chick. No, that's not a committed relationship. You're just in a relationship that's poly, but the other person doesn't know it. You guys have an open relationship and she doesn't know it, right? Or vice versa, he doesn't know it because both sides do this. Monogamy has to be practiced on both ends for men and women, right? Now, I'm not throwing no shade if you had a one night stand. I'm not throwing no shade. I met a lot of women. I met a lot of men that have one night stands that are stand up people, right? I mean, I'm not saying that you're entitled to 1 slip up or 2 slip. I'm not saying all of that. However, some people in the heart of the moment, try their best to have self-control, but it's just things happen. I understand, right? I'm not judging you. However, you just don't have self-control in that moment or in that instance or with this person. Because the truth of the matter is, there are some people, let's really be honest, there are some people that you wouldn't have self-control with. And it kills me because a lot of y'all have celebrity crushes. And a lot of people, it kills me because people are like, no, I'm good. That's my crush. I like them. But if they wanted to do something, I'm cool. I'm in a committed relationship. Yeah, okay. Let's see how much self-control that you really have if you really met them in person. Right now, let's see if you'll judge them the way that you're judging them now because they don't have one night stands. How many of y'all celebrity crushes met y'all today? Your Beyonce's, your who do the women like? What's the baby, right? Lil Baby, whoever, right? Lil Wayne, LL Cool J, Denzel Washington for the old chicks, right? Like whoever. You will see how much self-control that you have. But I truly believe that monogamy has to be practiced. Monogamy is not something that you can. Now, let me say this before. Let me finish this statement. Let me think. Let me say walk through this statement. It kills me because a lot of people look at it from a biblical standpoint and say that men weren't designed to be monogamous. Right? We weren't designed. I don't believe that. Right? I understand. I know you're going to say, well, the Bible doesn't change. The word of God doesn't change. I understand that. However, every season, every generation, or every, I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but times change, right? And I get it. The word of God doesn't change. It doesn't. It doesn't, right? But this is what I believe. You must apply it differently in every different time, right? Because the sacrifice that they used back then, this is my greatest example. They used sacrifices back then, right? To ask for forgiveness. How many lambs are being sacrificed now in 2024? Talk to me. I'll wait. How many lambs are being sacrificed to say, God, please forgive me for what I've done? Or please forgive my children for what they have done, Job? How many people are doing that? Nobody, right? There may be some people overseas that does that. I don't know them, right? So what I'm saying is, as the times change, biblical principles are applied differently, right? So it kills me when men say, hey, we were designed to be with multiple women and women were designed to be with one man. I have an issue with that. And the reason I have an issue with that is because, number one, if that was true now, you got to realize back then people had self-control, right? People, it was still wild, but it wasn't as wild as it is now. Now you have men, people live by different principles back then, right? So that's a whole different premise. But I'm going to fast forward a little bit. It's sad because, and some people will say, oh, you've been westernized. Hey, it is what it is. Call it what you want to call it. I'm calling it the way that I see it now. Men would say that I believe that I can have multiple women as long as I can take care of them. I picked up this Muslim lady. I'm just going to keep it all the way transparent, right? Picked up two different Muslim ladies. And like I said, I got a podcast. I love to ask questions. I will ask the most embarrassing, difficult questions, but the way that I come across, it doesn't feel disrespectful. It doesn't feel like I'm trying to pry. So she told me that her husband, she's a Muslim, her husband has two wives. She's the second wife. And the first wife is an older wife, right? Yeah, I'm going to show you how this thing can get really tricky and really sticky. So I asked her, I said, let's really be honest. How do you feel about it? And her response was, now let me share this before I share her response. Oftentimes people will use an excuse or use a cop-out so that they can feel comfortable about the decision that they made. I really don't like the decision that I made, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this excuse or this as an excuse so that what I'm dealing with, I'm comfortable with, and I'm not comfortable with it, but I use this as an excuse so it make me feel some kind of comfortability. So I asked her, I said, how do you feel about it? She was like, well, she's an older woman, and they're not having sex. I met a 70-year-old yesterday. And the 70-year-old, we were talking, and she was like, hey, I go to the doctor and, get checked on a regular. And I'm like, for what? Because we're talking about how the ages have changed, right? Like, for us, listen, kids 8 years old are introduced to sex now. Bananas, mind blowing. Like, I wasn't really introduced to sex until I was like, what, 19, 18? I'm going to say maybe six, nah, not even 16. I wasn't thinking about no sex at 17. I'm going to say 17, right? At the end of 16, 17, right? Years old. And, we're talking about how they change. And like now kids, 8, 9 years old, know what certain sex acts is, right? And she was like, hey, yeah, you're right. It's crazy, because in my day, I get it. Back in her day, she was like at 12 years old, they were able to get married and stuff like that. But she said the mindset was different. So that's what we were talking about. So then she was like, I still get checked every year now, and these kids don't get checked. And I'm like, what you getting checked for? What you ain't doing nothing. You 70. She was like, huh. I left it at that. I said, I don't need no more. Okay, cool, right? So the thing about it is, right? Man, I lost my track. I lost my mind, my thought. I lost my thought, y'all. I'll come back to it. But man, that was a good point I was making. I forgot. Well, y'all already know this is not a edited episode. I go all the way through, so y'all know I get my points all the way through. But shucks, I lost my train of thought, y'all. Y'all forgive me. Maybe I'll do another episode so I can get back on track. But I don't even know why I told y'all that. So let me walk y'all through this thing. So she was telling me that, and man, I wish this was live because y'all can leave in the comments. But it is what it is. But monogamy has to be practiced. I truly believe that. The reason I say that, I was talking about, I lost it. Oh, about the Muslim lady. I remember now. I told you I was gonna come back to it. I'll let you boy. I'm sharp-minded. So she said that I told you that she used that as an excuse because the lady was old. I'm talking to a 70-year-old lady. She was like, yo, I still get it in. I'm like, yo, it's crazy. So the truth of the matter is this lady may be old, but I promise you, her and her husband, they still have some type of intimacy, right? So I asked her, I said, so does it bother you? She said at first it did. She said at first, because she was the second wife, right? This lady, the older wife was the first wife, and he's still relatively young, she said. He's Muslim. And she's younger. The woman that I was talking to, she's younger. And she was like, at first it did bother me, but they don't like each other. Okay, so, I'm asking the question. I'm like, okay, cool. How often they see each other? She said he goes over there 3 times a week. It's 7 days out of the week. He goes over there 3 times a week. So there's 4 more days left in the week. And he stays with her for 4 days. So, okay, cool. So I'm like, yo, you don't think nothing is going on? Nothing? So out of those 3 days, you don't think no type of feelings get involved? I'm providing for you. You don't think, and he's providing for her, the older woman as well. Like, and this is what she said, the older woman does not work. And she hasn't worked for the last 20 years. So I'm assuming that the living couldn't be, because he ain't balling like that, right? I mean, he's probably making enough to take care of both houses, but he ain't balling like that. For a fact, because where I met her at, where I know that she said she stayed at, right? So she said that they not doing nothing. Anyway, I asked her again. I said, so how do you feel about it outside of thinking that they're not doing anything? She said that I've came to learn to get along with it, to be okay with it. I didn't like it in the beginning, but now it's okay. So I'm like, why is it okay now? And, she was just saying that in her mind, she feels like they're not doing anything. And since she feels like they're not doing anything, I made that to be okay in my mind. So the way that this thing could get messy, that was my original point. The way that this thing could get messy, because people would get in their feelings real fast, but may not say anything, but they feel a certain type of way. So when people, and I've learned this a long time ago, when people get in their feelings, their actions change, right? The things that they do changes, and that's truth. Like when somebody get in their feelings, their things change, their continents change, right? But I truly believe that monogamy has to be practiced. I'm gonna keep on saying that throughout this whole episode, right? I wish I had somebody to share this episode with us today, because I really believe that I truly believe that that it has to be practiced. And the reason I believe that it has to be practiced, number one, I was saying that because you get in your feelings, and that's how things can get really sticky. But I really believe that it has to be practiced, because it doesn't matter how you look. Sex is always accessible to anybody, right? I mean, to anybody. You can meet a woman on a whim. You go out, and you can be the ugliest guy. You can be the brokest guy, right? Because there's a lot of broke people having sex. Not just rich people, not just guys that's lit, not just guys that look good, not just women that look good. There's a lot of ugly women with horrible looking bodies that are getting guys, and they're smashing, right? So monogamy has to be practiced to a degree where you have self-control. And where there's no self-control, it cannot be practiced. Why? Because I don't have the self-control to say no. So, in the world that we live in today, as I said before, I'm going to keep on reiterating this thing. It's glorified. And that's the problem with the world today, because it's so glorified. So now when I get into a relationship, catch me here, when I get into a relationship, it's hard for me to remain committed. Why? Because I have such a huge appetite. Now we're about to get into the meat and bones of this episode. Now, I know when you were growing up, you always heard people say, hey, remain celibate until you get married. But it was never broken down. Many people would say the Bible says it, or that's just the way that tradition is. Because I know that back in the day, women would not give it up unless they got married. That was the standard of the old days. Now, and moving forward, women give it up like that. If I like you, I like you. I need something too. I need me. I need to get me done too, right? I get it. It's cool in the game. You do your thing. But the reason I say that monogamy has to be practiced, because if it's not practiced, I'm going to give you a critical point. When monogamy is not practiced before you get into a real relationship, you will stumble every single time. Bars. When you get into a real relationship and you haven't practiced monogamy prior to this relationship, you're going to stumble. Because and it's crazy, because y'all already know how the cliche says. It says that every time you get into a relationship, it seems like somebody wants you. That's so true, right? It seems as if, right? Let's really keep it funky. When you get into a real committed relationship and you're happy. When you get into a real committed relationship and you love this person, when you get into a real committed relationship and you want to be there, it seems like people come out the woodworks and opportunities come available. Are y'all listening to me? Opportunities come available when you're in a relationship and you're really happy, right? It just happens like that. So before you get into this relationship and you had this huge appetite, when you get into this relationship, what's going to happen to the appetite? It's going to be there, right? Like, it doesn't matter what you try to do in the relationship. And because this is the thing, a lot of people think, a lot of women believe this: if my sex game is crazy in the bedroom, he ain't going nowhere. That's a lie. Because eventually he's going to get tired of those same old moves. Or he's going to get tired of these same new moves that you're doing every single week. Like, you're just tiring yourself out. I tell women this all the time. Never allow the sexual activities to be the hook and bait that you think that's going to make them stay committed or stay with you. It's not. I promise you. I know a lot of women that, I've heard of reports of a lot of women. I ain't gonna say I know a lot of women, but I've heard a lot of women that use sex as an object or a thing to try to keep him faithful, and it doesn't. It doesn't keep him faithful. Listen, because if he had a big appetite before he got into his committed relationship and wasn't practicing monogamy before, his appetite is not going anywhere. Women too, y'all ladies too. Your appetite is not going anywhere, right? Because you did not use that time when you were single, when you weren't in a relationship. Can't even say committed relationship, when you weren't in a relationship to practice monogamy, right? Period. Like, I need you to practice this thing. And all the single people, I'm just trying to give you some practical tools. I'm trying to give you something real, because a lot of people are going to give you a whole bunch of garbage. Now, go ahead and smash everybody you want to smash. Yeah, number one, you might catch an STD, or you may catch something that you can't get rid of. So that's number one, bad advice. Practice to be, I'm not saying, I'm not telling you to be celibate, right? And I'm not promoting go have sex. That's not what I'm saying. However, what I am saying is, if you're not committed to one person, when you do get into a committed relationship, it's going to be difficult to be committed to that one person, because all your life or all your time, you've used to having different varieties of partners or different varieties of people, right? That you smash and that you're having fun with sexually. Monogamy has to be practiced, fellas. Ladies, monogamy has to be practiced. Because when you don't exercise that muscle will be weak when you get into a committed relationship. So how does that thing flex out? It flexes out when you get into a relationship that's supposed to be committed, and they say something that you don't like, or they do something that you don't like, and now you're in your feelings. Now you get mad. The first thing you do is what? You go on Instagram. You go look for somebody that you can entertain. Why? Because this relationship is not serving me at a capacity that I really wanted to serve me. That's why many of y'all cheat. Let's really be honest. Why? Because you didn't practice monogamy before you got into this relationship. I'm going to be honest with you, and it kills me when people say that it's difficult to remain faithful, or it's difficult to not get entangled into a situation where I can say no. No, it's not. It's not difficult. It's easy. All you have to do is be willing, and you have to have the self-discipline. It's easy. I'm going to say this. I am going to say this. It's easier said than done, but it's possible. But I truly believe, and I'm going to stamp this, in order for you to be in a committed relationship, you have to learn to practice monogamy. Because you will never be able to be in a committed relationship and not have a side piece, right? Men and women, you will have a side piece if you've had that before you got into a relationship. You had this crazy big appetite that every time you go out, you look for something to smash, or you look for something to be with. Matter of fact, I don't want to smash. I just want to do something else. And you've had this appetite. There's rappers, there's people that I've seen on interviews that will say, I ain't never get married because of my lifestyle, because it's difficult for them to practice monogamy. And it's not that it's hard. It's just that they choose not to. That's a fact. So, I just wanted to drop that real fast. I know, I get it. Many of y'all are going to fight me to the death of this and say, listen, nah, that's trash. Monogamy don't have to be practiced. I believe any stand-up man, any stand-up woman that wants a sustainable, and I mean a meaningful, substance-filled relationship, prior to getting to that relationship, you got to practice monogamy. You have to practice it, right? So, like, for example, I'm going to say this. I personally, a lot of people will say, when you're dating, and if nobody has committed to you, personally saying that I want to be with you. Now, they would say, let me finish my thought first. They would say that if nobody has committed to you, you should freely date everybody. Like, you should go on a date Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, whenever you available. Go on dates. I don't believe that concept. What's going on, family? I know that you're enjoying the episode, but I had to pause to ask you a quick question. Have you ever been through anything in life that was so life-altering that it changed your life forever? I mean, have you ever been and had a job and you lost that job? I mean, your dream job. You lost that job for whatever reason. Maybe you're an entrepreneur. You started a business, and the business started off great, and then it seemed as if it was going downhill. And now you're at a place, you lost your marriage, you lost your children, you lost some major things in your life. And now you're at a place in life where you're like, hey, this is the end of the road. I don't see it getting better. I got news for you. It will get better. And I wrote a book just for you. It's entitled Winning After a Major Loss. You need to go and get your copy. Go to barnesandnoble.com, go to amazon.com, get your copy right now. Winning After a Major Loss. I promise you, it's going to change the trajectory of your life. It's going to change your mindset. Most importantly, it's going to change your heart about your situation, because I promise you, you can win after a major loss. Go get your copy now. Barnes & Noble's, amazon.com. Order your copy now. Let's get back to the episode. I believe that if you meet somebody and you kind of find them, and this is the reason why a lot of people can't practice monogamy, because of this kind of teachings that people teach. Like, yo, if you're dating and you meet somebody that you really like, but they haven't committed to you, how are we going to commit and we only known each other for 2 weeks? So you mean to tell me you go on a date with somebody that you really, really like and you really want to get to know them, and it's okay to date 6 other people as well? No, because I'm not giving you the proper opportunity for me to get to know you, because I'm being distracted. This is my theory. I don't believe in people dating 6 and 7 people at the same time, because now you have to learn 6 or 7 different people, and it's difficult for you to learn the people and give them equal, fair opportunities to get to know them. What's going to happen is you're going to pick the best person that you feel, not the one that you really need. Why? Because everybody have qualities that you like and dislike. This person may have all the qualities that you really, really like, and this person may have all the qualities that you really, really need to get to the next level that you're really trying to get to in life. I believe this. All the broke guys going to disagree with this, but I believe this. Any relationship, ladies, that you get into, if you get out and if you stay, there should be some value that you have withdrawn from that man. Vice versa, fellas. There should be some value that she has deposited into you, right? That's made you a better man. When you get out of a relationship, I'm not promoting get out and get into relationships, but if the relationship happened to end, I believe that both of you should be able to have gotten value from one another. I believe that both of you should be better. You should be a better woman. You should be a better man, period. Right? And that's any relationship, even if it doesn't work. But ladies, got to talk to y'all for brief seconds. It's not cool to sleep around. I mean, that's not cool at all. And especially with women, right? I'm not saying about sleeping around, it's okay for guys. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm talking about especially for women. The dangers with sleeping around. Most women, right? Let's really be honest, are emotional. So most decisions that a lot of women make are emotional decisions. It's not a logical thinking type thing. It's an emotional, right? So when you sleep around, it's totally different. You have men for different reasons. I got this man for this. He's the one that takes me to nice restaurants. This is the one that helped me pay my bills. This is the one that really hit the spot. This is the one that, so it's crazy. You're emotional driven. I want to submit to you today, ladies. Practice being monogamous. Practice, I don't know if that's a word, but I made it up. I believe it is, though. Practice being with one guy. See this journey, and fellas too. Practice being with one person. And when this journey, or if this journey goes the distance, go the distance. But if it doesn't, thank you. It is what it is. Now let's move to the next. I truly believe this, man. Listen, I hope this episode was helpful for you all. Maybe we'll do a part 3, 4, 5, 6 with some guests on it. Because, I mean, this is a topic, this is a conversation for the times. Like, I really want y'all to understand that monogamy has to be practiced in order for you to get it right when you get into a relationship. What's going on, family? I want to say thank you for rocking with us during this episode. We have been so excited to drop this episode. I'm glad that you made it to the end. This is what I want you to do. If you have any takeaways from this episode, leave it in the comments. We want to hear your thoughts. We want to hear how you feel. I want to bring content to you that's relevant to you, that'll help you change your life, because you already know our mission here at AOS Inspires, AOS the podcast, is to empower the world to never give up, one conversation at a time, one interview at a time, one video at a time, to help you live life at the next level. This is what I need you to do. I need you to like, subscribe, share this episode. If it spoke to your life, share this episode with somebody. Why? Because you are connected to some people that we're not connected with. And with that connection together, we can empower the world to never give up. I'm Mr. AOS Inspires. This is AOS the podcast. I can't wait to see you next week. Just in case you didn't know, we drop every single week, 3 times a week. Mondays, 8 a.m., Wednesdays, 8 a.m., and Fridays, 8 a.m. You need to catch an episode. Matter of fact, catch all 3 episodes. It's going to be fire. I promise you it's going to help you doing your everyday life. It's going to help you get to the next level. Let's go.